bądź pierwszy. Zaraz po świętach, we wtorek, dzień szalonych cen. Co godzinę obłędne przeceny, aż do północy. Tak zaczynamy wielką zimową wyprzedaż w IKEA. Będziesz pierwszy, dostaniesz sofę.
He found a factory just 10 miles from the construction site capable of welding the huge diagonals. Each one is longer than the Airbus A380 Super Jumbo and heavier than 20 double-decker buses. Welding complex forms like this in the factory isn't simple, but it's nothing compared with transporting them to the site. With each truss weighing in at 165 tons and reaching a staggering 85 meters in length, it was no easy task.
And the challenges to do that were just unbelievable.
No one has ever transported anything this size before in Dubai, but Murphy was not going to be beaten. He brings in one of the world's largest heavy lift transporters, a beast with a total of 80 wheels. It makes the slow journey to the construction site at an average speed of 4 miles an hour. Police must close roads and remove traffic lights to allow this convoy through. When they finally reach the site, the contractors face their next hurdle, lifting these 165-ton beasts into position.
The architects refused us point blank to position these things in 3 pieces, which we wanted to do originally. And he said, no, aesthetics, I'm not allowing you to weld up there.
He's forced to find a way of lifting the trusses in a single piece to a height of 200 meters, twice the height of the Statue of Liberty.
We had to go away and think of an idea how to actually lift these monsters up. We had 3 big monster cranes in there, and even they weren't big enough to lift the diagonal trusses.
Murphy had to look further afield for a solution. Specialist lifting gear from Singapore. His team set up winches, like those used on offshore drilling rigs, high on cantilever frames 15 meters from the building. Cables with a braking strength of 225 tons are attached to the ends of the truss.
I can assure you we were very, very nervous that morning when we lifted the first one. 30, 40 guys had sleepless nights that week, getting ready for that first lift.
The 2 massive winches take up the strain, then painstakingly raise the diagonal truss little by little up the side of the building. It's all going to plan. Murphy and his team have solved the lifting dilemma, but these trusses have a sting in the tail. They need to fit into place with pinpoint accuracy. But Dubai's climate means temperatures can vary by as much as 14 degrees in a single day. And this will make the trusses expand and contract dramatically. The problem's known as thermal expansion.
The steelman's nightmare in the desert, working 50 degrees C.
Steel expands in the heat and contracts when cold.
Okay, chaps, light up. We're actually going to heat the steel up now, which is going to give you an idea of what temperatures we're working in the desert.
Heat makes the steel molecules move faster and further, and this 15-meter tube actually grows in length. The difference is visible.
What did I tell you? Steel does expand with the heat.
The diagonal trusses on the Burj Al Arab could expand and contract by a full 5 centimeters over a 24-hour period. They were never going to fit their precise point in the framework without an ingenious solution.
Engineers thought about it, the structural fabricators, the steel fabricators, the architects, everybody thought about it, and it was actually one of the architects came up with this great solution.
On the frame of the structure, the fixing bracket contains a vast washer with its hole offset from the center. This swivels until it lines up with the hole in the diagonal truss. Then, the cast steel pin, 30 centimeters in diameter, is inserted through both holes, locking them together. This clever device buys the team the crucial 5 centimeters of play they require for the installation, and the truss is now fixed securely in place.
When we got that pin in, we had those champagne corks flying. It was just unbelievable.
But there's precious little time for celebration. The first guests are due before the millennium. This leaves the team less than 36 months to completion. It's a race against time.
Sheikh Mohammed's vision for the Burj Al Arab meant that it was needed yesterday.
January 1997, and a colossus is emerging out of the Arabian Gulf. The Burj Al Arab will become the tallest hotel in the world, the last word in luxury and a proud symbol for Dubai. Architect Tom Wright wants the building to be beautiful. The steel sections of the exoskeleton that will support it must be as minimal as possible. The view from these £1,000 a night suites would have to live up to the price tag.
When you're in the suite, looking through the windows, they are right in front of you. So they have to be exceptionally well detailed and well put together.
But this created a dilemma. If Wright make the exoskeleton too light, the wind's force at 300 meters above the Gulf could shake the building apart. Too bulky, and the elegant form of his yacht-shaped structure would be ruined. Once again, Wright and the engineers, who must make his hotel safe, were on a collision course.
When you're designing a building that is taller than the Eiffel Tower, and you've never done one before, you want to make sure that you've got it right.
The form with its steel exoskeleton was so groundbreaking. For the first time in Dubai's history, engineers decided to do tests in a wind tunnel. Wind engineer Volker Buttgereit knows the Burj Al Arab is one of a kind.
Before this building came along, most of the buildings in the Gulf were fairly orthodox shape. They were square, they were rectangular, they were nowhere near this scale. So doing a wind tunnel test for a building in those days in the Gulf was almost outrageous.
But for this extraordinary structure, it was essential. The wind tunnel simulated the wind effects of the Gulf around this 1:50 scale model.
This building's seen some pretty severe loads, almost twice what it would be seen in London. We measured suctions which were the order of a weight of a car hanging off, trying to suck the panel off the building. So that's quite something.
The wind tunnel threw up results that could threaten the entire exoskeleton.
When we first saw the design, there was immediate concern about vibration due to something called vortex shedding.
Vortex shedding is an engineer's nightmare. Certain wind conditions blowing over sharp edges on the steel structure can create miniature tornadoes. These set up dangerous vibrations that can shake a building to destruction. Which is exactly what happened to these massive cooling towers in Ferrybridge, Northern England, in 1965. The engineers needed to find a way to protect the Burj Al Arab.
The simplest solution is to change the aerodynamic shape, but that upsets the architect.
The architectural idea of the exoskeleton structure is, when you look at it, the very essence of the building. If you take it off, it's just another building. If you put the exoskeleton structure on, you have an icon.
The architect forced the engineers to think again.
This is classic vortex shedding. We realized we had to come up with something clever that was not visible but somehow reduced the motion.
They turned to an ingenious hanging weight called a tuned mass damper. These are installed at vulnerable points in the exoskeleton. When the wind blows and vortex shedding starts to create dangerous vibrations, the 5-ton weight will swing instead of the structure and damp down the vibrations to well within safety limits. 11 of these